I am not the victim of the world I see. I am not the victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. There is another way of looking at the world. I could see peace instead of this. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. My mind is part of God's. I am very, very holy. And so are you. Thank you so much for joining me today in studying A Course in Miracles, Workbook for Students, and the text. I'm Miracle Willie, forgiveness teacher from the Ozarks, and we're ready for lesson 57. And we're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version. Here on Monday, February the 26th of 2023, I am not the victim of the world I see. That's review of lesson 31, and then 32 is I have invented the world I see. 33, there is another way of looking at the world. I could see peace instead of this. Everything that comes to you that causes you a little discomfort, you need to tell yourself, well, I could see peace instead of this. And why? Because your mind is part of God's. I am very holy. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. And that's the last of our reviews for today, 35. So once again, I am not the victim of the world I see, since I have invented the world I see. But there is another way of looking at the world. I could see peace instead of this. For my mind is part of God's. I am very holy. You know, throwing a few conjunctions in between the phrases sometimes makes it all kind of roll together a little better for me. Okay, well, before we read the lesson in its entirety, let's go back and look in our text reading in chapter 7, the gifts of the kingdom. And we're ready for Roman numeral 7, the totality of the kingdom. Whenever you deny a blessing to a brother, you will feel deprived, because denial is as total as love. It is as impossible to deny part of the sonship as it is to love it in part, nor is it possible to love it totally at times. You cannot be totally committed sometimes. Denial has no power in itself, but you can give it the power of your mind, whose power is without limit. Your mind, the power of your mind is without limit. If you use it to deny reality, reality is gone for you. Reality cannot be partly appreciated. That is why denying any part of it means you have lost the awareness of all of it. Yet denial as a defense, denial is a defense, and so it is as capable of being used positively as well as negatively. Used negatively, it will be destructive because it will be used for attack. But in the service of the Holy Spirit, denial can help you recognize part of reality and thus appreciate all of it. You know, deny what is not real. Mind is too powerful to be subject to exclusion. You will never be able to exclude yourself from your thoughts. 2. When a brother acts insanely, he's offering you an opportunity to bless him. His need is yours. You need the blessing you can offer him. There is no way for you to have it except by giving it. This is the law of God, and it has no exceptions. What you deny, you lack. Not because it is lacking, but because you have denied it in another and are therefore not aware of it in yourself. Every response you make is determined by what you think you are, and what you want to be is what you think you are. What you want to be then must determine every response you make. 3, you do not need God's blessing because that you have forever, but you do need yours. The ego's picture of you is deprived, unloving, and vulnerable. You cannot love this, yet you can very easily escape from this image by leaving it behind. You can very easily escape from this image of being vulnerable and unloving and deprived by leaving it behind. You're not there, and that is not you. Do not see this picture in anyone, or you have accepted it as you. All illusions about the sonship are dispelled together, as they were made together. Teach no one that he is what you would not want to be. Teach no one that he is what you would not want to be. Teach no one that he is what you would not want to be. Your brother is the mirror in which you see the image of yourself as long as perception lasts. And perception will last until the sonship knows itself as whole. You made perception, and it must last as long as you want it. 4, illusions are investments. They will last as long as you value them. Values are relative, but they are powerful because they are mental judgments. The only way to dispel illusions is to withdraw all investment from them, and they will have no life for you because you will have put them out of your mind. While you include them in it, you are giving life to them, except there is nothing there to receive your gift. 5, the gift of life is yours to give because it was given you. You are unaware of your gift because you do not give it. You cannot make nothing live, since nothing cannot be enlivened or enlivened. Therefore, you are not extending the gift you both have and are, and so you do not know your being. All confusion comes from not extending life. All confusion comes from not extending the life that you are. Let it go on forth. You've been given love, now extend love. All confusion comes from not extending life, because that is not the will of your Creator. You do nothing apart from Him, and you do nothing apart from Him. Keep His way to remember yourself, and teach His way lest you forget yourself. Keep His way to remember yourself, and teach His way lest you forget yourself. God's way, teach it in order to remember who you are. Teach only love, for that is what you are. Remember that? Give only honor to the sons of the living God, and count yourself among them gladly. 6. Only honor is a fitting gift for those whom God Himself created worthy of honor and whom He honors. Give them the appreciation God accords them always, because they are His beloved sons in whom He is well pleased. Wow, catch that. Give them the appreciation God accords them always, because they are His beloved sons in whom He is well pleased. You cannot be apart from them because you are not apart from Him. Rest in His love and protect your rest by loving. But love everything He created, of which you are a part, or you cannot learn of His peace and accept His gift for yourself and as yourself. You cannot know your own perfection until you have honored all those who were created like you. Let's read that again. Rest in God's love and protect your rest by loving. But love everything He created, of which you are a part, or you cannot learn of His peace and accept His gift for yourself and as yourself. You need to love everyone. Love everything He created, of which you are a part, or you cannot learn of His peace and accept His gift for yourself and as yourself. You cannot know your own perfection until you have honored all those who were created like you. Should motivate you to love your neighbor as yourself, and don't let there be any exceptions. Paragraph 7. One child of God is the only teacher sufficiently worthy to teach another. One teacher is in all minds, and he teaches the same lesson to all. He always teaches you the inestimable worth of every son of God. He always teaches you the inestimable worth of every son of God, teaching it with infinite patience, born of the infinite love for which he speaks. Every attack is a call for his patience, since his patience can translate attack into blessing. Those who attack do not know they are blessed. They attack because they believe they are deprived. Give therefore of your abundance and teach your brothers theirs. Do not share their illusions of scarcity, or you will perceive yourself as lacking. 8. Attack could never promote attack. Do I need to read that last sentence again? Do not share their illusions of scarcity, or you will perceive yourself as lacking. 8. Attack could never promote attack unless you perceived it as a means of depriving you of something you want. Yet you cannot lose anything unless you do not value it, and therefore do not want it. This makes you feel deprived of it, and by projecting your own rejection, you then believe that others are taking it from you. You must be fearful if you believe that your brother is attacking you to tear the kingdom of heaven from you. This is the ultimate basis for all the ego's projection. 9. Being the part of your mind that does not believe it is responsible for itself, and being without allegiance to God, the ego is incapable of trust. Projecting its insane belief that you have been treacherous to your Creator, it believes that your brothers, who are as incapable of this as you are out to take God from you. Whenever a brother attacks another, that is what he believes. Projection always sees your wishes in others. If you choose to separate yourself from God, that is what you will think others are doing to you. If you choose to separate yourself from God, that is what you will think others are doing to you. 10. You are the will of God. You are the will of God. Do not accept anything else as your will, or you are depriving what you are, or you are denying what you are. Do not accept anything else as your will, or you are denying what you are. Deny this and you will attack, believing you have been attacked. But see the love of God in you, and you will see it everywhere, because it is everywhere. See his abundance in everyone, and you will know that you are in him with them. They are part of you as you are part of God. You are as lonely without understanding this as God himself is lonely when his sons do not know him. The peace of God is understanding this. There is only one way out of the world's thinking, just as there was only one way into it. Understand totally by understanding totality. Love everybody, no exceptions. Perceive, and the last paragraph, 11, perceive any part of the ego's thought system as wholly insane, wholly delusional, and wholly undesirable, and you've correctly evaluated all of it. This correction enables you to perceive any part of creation as wholly real, wholly perfect, and wholly desirable. Wanting this only, you will have this only, and giving this only, you will be only this. The gift you offer to the ego are always experienced as sacrifices, but the gifts you offer the kingdom are gifts to you. They will always be treasured by God because they belong to his beloved sons, who belong to him. All power and glory are yours because the kingdom is his. Okay, now before we go back and read our lesson for today, holidays and observances around the world, from holidaysandobservances.com. Carnival Day, Carpe Diem Day, seize the day. For Pete's Sake Day, that's a statement of frustration. Levi Strauss Day, they started manufacturing back in 1853. National Bacon Day, National Cupcake Day, National Customized Wheel and Tire Day, National Personal Chef Day, World and National Pistachio Day. And the pistachio is the Pistacia genera, and there's 11 species. The one that we generally eat is the Vera, V-E-R-A. It's the member of the cashew family, the Anacardiaceae. They grow in zones 7 through 11. They can handle down to 0-degree temperature, the tree, and they're hot, dry summers with low humidity, not humility. Anyway, there's your pistachio. Play More Cards Day, Tell a Fairy Tale Day, Thermos Bottle Day. And the thermos bottle was invented in 1892 by Scottish scientist Sir James Dewar. And then in edible landscaping, we're going to look at the Jostaberry. And it's a cross between, it's two ribes, a ribes grossularia and a ribes nigrum. And in edible landscaping, it says of the Jostaberry, Josta is a new unique hybrid from Europe, a gooseberry blackcurrant cross. Vigorous and healthy, Josta shows off the best traits of each parent. Fruits later in life than most ribes, 3rd to 4th year. No thorns, no pungent aroma, half-inch fruit good for freezing, space 5 foot apart, rust resistant with little or no pruning required. The upright bush is pretty with large dark green leaves, height 4 to 7 feet. The 3, 5, and 7 gallon sizes are usually fruiting in the container. Zones, so I guess it takes about 3 years to reach those sizes. Zones 3 through 8. The Jostaberry. And then in Permaculture for Beginners by Carrie Mitchell, we're in Chapter 3, Designing the Permaculture Garden. And this section is called Plant, or yesterday we had Plant Stacking. Remember the 7 layers of a food forest? Today, it's the edge effect. The most productive areas are on the edge, like where woods turns into a prairie right there on the edge, or where water meets land. Those are edge effects. And she says that you can increase that edge effect idea by having lots of small gardens or by making your gardens curvatures. So anyway, there's some little ideas about permaculture for beginners. Now, our lesson in, let's go back and look at 57. Lesson 57. Today, let us review these ideas. We're going to review 31 through 35. Our first one, I am not the victim of the world I see. How can I be the victim of a world that can be completely undone if I so choose? My chains are loosened. I can drop them off merely by desiring to do so. The prison door is open. I can leave simply by walking out. Nothing holds me in this world. Only my wish to stay keeps me a prisoner. Remember, we're working with our value system. Do you wish to value the things that are passing away? Only my wish to stay keeps me a prisoner. I would give up my insane wishes and walk into the sunlight at last. Next review, I have invented the world I see. I made up the prison in which I see myself. All I need do is recognize this and I am free. I have deluded myself into believing it is possible to imprison the Son of God. I was bitterly mistaken in this belief, which I no longer want. What's this belief? I have deluded myself into believing it is possible to imprison the Son of God. I was bitterly mistaken in this belief, which I no longer want. The Son of God must be forever free. He is as God created him, and not what I would make of him. He is where God would have him be, and not where I thought to hold him prisoner. So we want to see our brothers the way we want to see ourselves, as completely free. Whatever choices they make, it's okay. Honor them. They're on their own path to God, and they're free to make they have the freedom of choice. Honor that in them, and know that underneath it all, there's a perfection that they're walking in. Whether they know it or not, you bring it into focus for them, and that brings it into focus for you. Our third review: there is another way of looking at the world. Since the purpose of the world is not the one I ascribe to it, there must be another way of looking at it. Listen to that crow. Did you hear that while I was talking? Since the purpose of the world is not the one I ascribe to it, there must be another way of looking at it. I see everything upside down, and my thoughts are the opposite of truth. I see the world as a prison for God's Son. It must be then that the world is really a place where it can be set free. I would look upon the world as it is and see it as a place where the Son of God finds his freedom. Is that I said that, a crow, that was a hawk. Yeah, I see it there now. Okay, there is another way of looking at the world. Let's read it again. Since the purpose of the world is not the one I ascribe to it, there must be another way of looking at it. I see everything upside down, and my thoughts are the opposite of truth. I see the world as a prison for God's Son. It must be then that the world is really a place where he can be set free. I would look upon the world as it is and see it as a place where the Son of God finds his freedom. And number 4, I could see peace instead of this. When I see the world as a place of freedom, I realize that it reflects the laws of God instead of the rules I made up for it to obey. I will understand that peace, not war, abides in it, and I will perceive that peace also abides in the hearts of all who share this place with me. And number 5, my mind is part of God's. I am very holy. As I share the peace of the world with my brothers, I begin to understand that this peace comes from deep within myself. The world I look upon has taken on the light of my forgiveness. The world I look upon has taken on the light of my forgiveness and shines forgiveness back to me, or back at me. In this light, I begin to see what my illusions about myself kept hidden. I begin to understand the holiness of all living things, including myself, and their oneness with me. And our word for peace in the Batak language of Indonesia is Pardamean. 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 So Pardamean to you. Hope I'm pronouncing it properly. Now you can do one of your 2-minute practices right now, and be sure to have 7 today, as well as think about the ideas throughout the day. I am not the victim of the world I see. I am not the victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. I have invented the world I see. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. I could see peace God's. I am very holy. I am not the victim of the world I see, since I have invented the world I see. But there is another way of looking at the world. I could see peace instead of this. For my mind is part of God's. I am very holy. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. One more time through. I am not the victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. There is another way of looking at the world. I could see peace instead of this. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. We are very holy as we're thoughts of God. A thought of God is what you are. And our word for peace, Pardamean. I am not the victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. There is another way of looking at the world. I could see peace instead of this. My mind is part of God's. I'm very holy. Pardamean.